2022 GSL Season 2. Africa TV, Freak Up Studio, live. 2022 GSL Season 2.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the GSL. We had a little 2-week hiatus. We are here to wrap up this week in the round of 10.
Yeah, it's been a while. And we do have some strange things happening to the schedule right now. Unfortunately, some players, as you may have heard, did end up catching some coronavirus, including Maru and DRG. So they're going to be playing online here tonight, which made it so that we can't have a studio audience. A big sorry to anyone who tried to come down.
Yeah, it's too bad we even had to turn some guys away at the door of the building. At least I did when I was on my way in here. Unfortunately, we can't have an audience here today. I don't think that's going to last for very long, but it seems like after DreamHack, a lot of people, or at least here, are infected. So, hopefully... And we'll have more updates about Thursday as well. Nothing set in stone yet. If I had to guess, I'd say probably not going to have anybody in there, but anybody here in the studio, but we'll see.
Yeah, unsure as of right now.
So we have 2 players today who are playing. They have COVID. They're playing from home. Yep. I think, is this the first time we've ever had anybody play from home?
No, Solar had to do it before.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Not our first rodeo here then, but yeah, unusual at least for us over here at GSL.
Yeah, and it sucks, but it is what it is, and hopefully they can still play some good games. We don't know exactly how sick they are. That's really hard to tell. But obviously, if you're really, really sick and you're just trying your best online, you're probably not going to do that well. So I guess we'll see from their results how they might be feeling.
Yeah, we may have some upsets here, with our players who are ill, unable to perform as well as they would have liked. But who knows, they might be able to power through it. Regardless, man, the show must go on. And that's what we're doing here today. So we've got 3 players in the studio, 2 playing from home. And that'll become apparent as the show goes on here when you see the different backdrops for each of the players.
Yeah, and Maru, of course, was absolutely dominating, looked ridiculous in the first week of Group A. We'll see if he's able to carry that on. DRG doing well as well. Sue is looking pretty rough, though. We're not holding a lot of hope for him right now, are we?
Not really. He looked very lackluster. Everybody's in a different form here. The game's been around for long enough now that we can basically see players, at their highs and at their lows as well. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, it just didn't seem like Sue really had what it took. We'll see if he can make a U-turn with that here today, but I think it's pretty unlikely.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. Now, taking a look at what we have for our matches, very, very exciting to open up DRG against herO. We'll see if DRG has anything special planned for herO's crazy PvZ style that everyone's been having a hard time against.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one to explore here. It does seem like herO is very much so on the cutting edge. DRG also, not looking terrible, but not looking as strong either here.
Yeah,
I had to say.
It's for the guy who eliminated Rogue, you expect a lot out of him, right?
Yeah, but each of these matchups, they are different beasts you have to tackle. And so we're going to be going now into this match here to begin to wind up Group A. Once we're done with today's games, we're going to know exactly who survives Group A and who's going home. Speaking of home, you can see DRG in the bedroom.
Tasteless, I got to tell you, the mattress on the floor, it's a great touch. This is how I would be living if I was not married. 100%. Buying a bed is for fools, okay? The mattress, just put it on the floor.
It does
perfect.
Work. It's comfy. It's fine. You're low to the ground.
That's
cool
the important part, Tasteless.
Hot air rises, artosis.
Yeah.
It's very hot here in Seoul. You stay on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
It's cooler. DRG does not stream, does he? I don't think he does.
He has streamed before.
Yeah, but I don't think he does it now. Or
well,
if he does, then
today,
I didn't follow
Tasteless,
him.
that's for sure.
Yeah. Today it's the biggest stream he's ever done. And so, as you can see, herO here in the studio. There's DRG, a little bit of cough, a little bit of protein spikes coming out there.
protein spikes.
That's right, little COVID protein spikes coming out. Looking for more people to infect. herO currently testing negative. We're hoping DRG can perform well. Obviously, he is playing sick. He's playing under the weather. Anyways, guys, we're going to go to this best of 3 on Berlingrad to start this evening off.
Team NV, DRG.
No camera zoom there.
No. Nice blinds, though. I think we can all agree with that.
Dude, those are the right type of blinds.
Those are the right type of
Dragon
blinds.
What's it
Phoenix
called? Venetian
Gaming.
blinds, right?
herO.
I believe it's called Venetian blinds. I think you're correct. Keep the sunlight out.
They're the best ones, man. You just do the little twirl and the little rod thing.
Yeah. Need
Open 'em or
some sunlight,
close 'em.
no problem.
Yeah.
Or maybe you want a lot of sunlight and you just pull that string,
Yeah.
take it all the way up. But then when it's gamer time, dude, push that a little bit, close that up.
You better believe that.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, it's a lot better than the blinds in my house. The blinds in my house are like these garbage, like high quality paper or whatever. And the what they're held up with
Oh, I
are
think I know
these
what
like
you're talking
little
about.
metal hooky things. And I actually haven't used my blinds now on one of my windows in like behind my computer. I have 2 windows, right? And one of them, and because this one doesn't work, I don't use the other one. But I haven't used it now in over a year because the last time I used it, the thing came out of the ceiling, like the little screw
It just
hole is like
pulled right
stripped, and yeah, and getting it back up there is like, Tasteless, let me tell you something, man. I would rather go get a root canal than put that back up there again. It was such a pain in my ass.
Does DRG currently live in Busan, or is he up in Seoul nowadays?
Oh, I don't think he lives in Busan. I think the only player that actually lives down south is Gumio.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. I would imagine, man, if you got tested positive for COVID after coming back and then had to get all the way down to Busan, how does that even work? Don't they test you?
Well, no. You don't get tested when you get into the country anymore. They stopped that, if you recall. When we came back, we didn't get tested. He probably just felt sick and took a test.
Oh,
that's how it goes.
Right.
Like, remember, yeah.
I've done 2 trips. One was where I had to be tested upon arriving,
Yeah.
and then a few months later we had a gig in Orlando. That's right. I guess we had to be tested before the flight.
Yeah.
Oh, and he is playing from Busan.
Okay. There you
go. So, production just informed us. It's a rough trip all the way back there if you're sick like
well,
that.
I could kind of tell by the room, right? Like that's
It looked like a Busan apartment
room,
right there.
Yeah.
So
we use beds in Seoul.
our beds have legs on them.
Yeah.
In this game, again, if you haven't watched much of this season, there's been some very exciting developments coming from herO in this matchup. He has been playing a very active style, getting oracles, but then getting a lot of stalkers and expanding, matching the Zergon bases, keeping a lot of pressure.
More Tasteless.
Yeah, well, eventually getting more, putting pressure on, yeah, and then basically out expanding them.
I hope he goes for that. Like, I mean, this is kind of the style that everyone's excited about. It really freshens up this matchup. And the thing is, PvZ goes through phases where it's like it becomes this sky toss turtle fest, and everyone in the whole earth gets bored of that eventually. You know what I mean? It's
probably some of the least exciting StarCraft 2.
Well, it's like once you add this thing as Stargate and start the 3rd Void Ray, you're invincible until like the end of the game.
It becomes a single-player game for a lot of it.
Yeah. So really hoping to see that out of here. I think we will as well. No one is really shown a way that looks like it's not strong, you know.
Okay, so the Oracle's going to come in here, try to do a little bit of damage. But we really want to watch as the 3rd Nexus continues development here. Is that Twilight Council going to come down? Is Blink going to be made? It seems like herO has really figured out a way to approach the matchup that, honestly, we didn't see a lot of the other Protoss players really mess with. I guess we saw Creator do it once or twice, right?
Yeah,
one build where he opened with that.
And there's some herO-inspired play, I think, as well. We saw Zoun do something that was like herO-inspired, I think.
But it does seem like he has the big handle on this.
Well, it certainly is. Like, he's been working on it for more than just this season, that's for sure. So, Yeah, we'll see in a moment here. Like, he has his third Nexus coming in. Ooh, he's warping a couple Stalkers, Tasteless. That definitely points towards it.
Yeah.
Here's a Forge, and we should be seeing the Twilight.
Yeah, I think
He
that
makes
Twilight's,
a Robo, my head will explode. 100% is Twilight.
I think that Twilight's just around the corner here.
There it is.
Yeah.
Just down the street.
And so, I
Can
mean,
see it from my front door.
yeah, as long as your Venetian blinds are open. So, this is cool. This is, out of all the matchups I've been, for this season, the most excited about this one. And I kind of want to see, how far can herO go.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that, like, Zergs are just winning everything. They have been for years now, okay? It's no secret.
But Maru almost won DreamHack.
Yeah, Maru almost won.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, if you have a really good play versus Zerg, you have a real shot at winning, whether you're Protoss or Terran, an entire championship, because you will have to go through a Zerg, whether it's the finals or the semifinals. There's just too much Zerg dominance. So to be good against Zerg is probably the most important thing to be a champion. And with something this innovative, this cool, this different, that's a lot of promise here for herO.
I do have to say that I like DRG's approach here so far. Like, I really like to see plus melee against something like this. Now, we don't know exactly if this is going to end up working super well for him. Is he going to go Bane with this? Is he just trying to utilize this because it's against Stargate play? I think he's probably mostly prepared to play against exactly what hero's showing us. And look at this, right? So it's plus melee attack, and there is the Baneling nest kind of lined up with that layer a little bit so that he can get Baneling speed. And, against, like, gateway units, against Blink Stalker and a bunch of Zealots, he always ends up making Zealots and tries to come in from the side. I like the approach.
Yeah. Looks like we have an attempted run in here. herO's been pretty on top this entire season about making sure that Lynx don't just get to abuse him. DRG, by the way, taking the fourth base here on this map. It's over at 6 o'clock for DRG. Pretty hard location to attack into. And the creep spread overall here is very, very good. Now, that can change with the style of play that we've seen used on this map. Let's also keep in mind that it's a very quick fourth for the Protoss, too. That's a big feature of the build order, is you're kind of barely safe for most of the game, and then you just start to build and mount more pressure over time. And, the thing about Stalkers is, like, if you control them very well, you're probably going to trade better than the Zerg can. Whoa, all right. Kind of a funny moment to go for the 2 queens. I wasn't really anticipating that.
I don't think that was the plan going in, but he saw them and was like, you know what, this is fine.
Yeah,
and
take what you can get.
He's flying through, getting info and stuff during all this as well. So yeah, I mean, I don't mind the calls here.
One thing to remember that we saw in the past with this is that the Stalkers would sort of escort the Stalkers around the map. So the Stalkers would blink away, and if the Zerg ever really committed, the Stalkers would then turn on their little laser beams and gun down.
Oh, you mean the Oracles?
Did I say? I'm sorry, that's what I meant to say.
You said the Stalkers are like bringing the Stalkers around the map. I'm like, yeah, they do work together.
Sorry, there's a tumor pushing on my brain right now. What I meant to say was the Oracles would escort the Stalkers. If the Stalkers do get pinned, the Oracles gun down everything that's surrounding him.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. Like, he's used his Oracles pretty heavily, but hasn't made any additional ones. And I was wondering if he was going to add a few more of those in. Now, he is producing 4 probes at a time, so, like, exploding that economy. Charge and +2 are on the way. 2-1 is going to be on the way here for DRG, which is going to be really, really big. Like, especially he gets that +2 melee. That is a huge upgrade for one-shotting probes with those Banes. Yeah, like, we are getting exactly into it, but it does feel to me like DRG has a bit more thought put into how to play against this than anyone else that we've seen so far.
Yeah, well, he definitely had some time to think about it, over the trip in Spain and everything. And obviously, weeks are really a lot of time for players to try to adapt to new styles. It's important to note here as well. Big run-in over here with the Lings, but again, a superior trade, especially with that ending blink there, to catch those Lings.
Coming up here once again, look at this, adding double Robo, and well, I'm thinking it's going to be Colossus tech, but we don't know 100%. Like, maybe he does want to get some, well, is it Colossus or is it Disruptor, right? Like, against this many Lings, Colossus feels a bit better, but you never know. I mean, Disruptors go very well with Blink Stalkers. A lot of Banes, a lot of Lings being made right now.
Yeah.
DRG's about to have a very serious army.
Yeah, DRG might actually be able to fight this here. Yeah. I don't see the rest of the Protoss army here. He gets to surround again. I don't see Oracles helping to to save these. Not that I think they would have made the biggest difference with the sheer number of lings that are actually here. Honestly, so far for DRG, not bad at all. Actually, banelings are morphing like right here in plain sight. And
that's cute, yeah. Not a bad idea.
You know what? He's going to get one, so this baneling shouldn't actually do anything.
No.
When I saw that Stalker first fire, I thought there's no way in a million years that Stalker can clean that up. But
well, you were right.
Yeah.
All right, well, the baneling's rolling in now. He does have that +2 just about to finish. It's too bad. A little bit of an anti-timing, I guess.
Yeah.
But still gets a few. Like, there are so many Zerglings out on the map right now.
It does seem like DRG has prevented herO from doing what he wanted to do, which is try to control the map. And now, from here, it seems like DRG is going to get this base in a counterattack. That's going to force a little bit of a base trade-ish situation here on the map. I mean, he's going to be coming down now.
DRG's being really efficient with taking out these bases, though. Like, it's mostly just Zerglings running in and killing everything. Now, this is a pretty big jump upon these morphing banelings. They do pop out and deal some okay damage, but still the army of herO very strong right there.
Yeah, where does this actually end? Keep in mind, you know, most of the Banes have detonated. It's just lings, Stalkers, and Disruptors. Am I wrong about this? I feel like the Protoss just has a better army.
Okay, he has a better army, but everything is being killed. DRG, in fact, targeting down onto the Nexuses. Like, maybe he does one of these turtle plays where you make a bunch of spines up the ramp or something, but I mean, there's Disruptors out here as well. Okay, he gets rid of the Nexus, the warping occurs. He's gonna kill those Stalkers.
It's kind of a weird number to recall back here.
It's quite a base trade that we're seeing here. Look at this, 86 probes killed. Oh my god, that's insane. That might be the highest number we've ever seen on that tab.
herO has 0 workers. He does not have the money, or he does have the money.
But he doesn't have
a probe, he can't make Nexus again.
And it seems as if DRG is won.
Yeah. I guess the answer might be just keep making more lings. That's it. DRG takes game 1.
It was a macro ling build, and he did a great job with some of these attacks. A couple things, herO didn't really wall. Like, normally part of his play is to wall. Now the Berlingrad is going to be a little bit harder than some of the other maps to, like, wall off the side expansions. But that was very well done by DRG. Now, here's the question. Did DRG just force the world back into Void Rays?
Yeah, that's... Well, it's funny, because we saw what herO was doing earlier. It's like, oh, that's so cool. Why didn't we see that before? And, you know, how did Zerg stop that? And then you see just Ling stop it. It's like, oh, maybe that's why.
Yeah,
maybe the answer's so simple that, you know, digging deep for a really complicated solution wasn't actually the play at all.
Yeah.
Now we got to see exactly where Game 2 is going to go. Does herO want to try that style again? And if so, how does DRG behave? Is it just lings? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I'm excited. Wow.
I came for war.
Team NV, DRG. Dragon Phoenix Gaming, herO.
Get your Tums, Artosis. Saw that happen. Artosis pulled out a Ziploc bag of Tums to try to take one, and then dropped it, and they spilled on the ground. And this is the closest I've ever seen to the version of Artosis as Sonic being hit and losing all of his rings.
Yeah. Bit too much caffeine for me today, actually.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have had that second coffee.
A little acidic. I'm going with green tea lately. If I have too much coffee while I do this, I'm like, ah.
Yeah, that happens as I get older, man. It's I remember, like, back when we were first in Korea, we'd sit at coffee shops, and, like, there was this one called Seven Monkeys where it was dollar refills on Americanos.
Yeah.
Americano, guys, is just espresso shots
ice
of water.
Americano.
Yeah. and we would sit there and drink 3, 4 of them right in a row.
It was like it was happy hour or something.
Yeah,
we were like,
was.
yeah, we can get a bunch of these and
endless-
it's cheap.
Endless coffee. And like drink, it was unbelievable how much. And nowadays, when I have the same coffee, it's a coin flip whether I get heartburn.
Yeah.
It's
For me,
just
it's
like-
either heartburn or I have a crippling anxiety over nothing. I'm like, why do I feel like I'm going to die? Oh, I had a second cup of coffee. Okay.
Yeah. It's weird how things change.
So, Cybernetics Core are going to finish up. I mean, this is going to get a bit repetitious with herO PVZs, but he was bringing that new style. And it does start with a Stargate, a third Nexus, and then a Citadel.
Yeah.
So we want to kind of watch for that.
A few things. Again, we didn't have walls that we normally see from herO. He did try to go into Disruptor, which was an interesting call there. Maybe we either saw Zoun or Creator do like basically that. I think it might have been Zoun. So that could be something that like he was like, oh, that's a nice thing to add into this, but actually this was not Roach heavy at all. So maybe that was well, I think for sure that was a mistake. Disruptor's just not as good in that circumstance. But also not as many Oracles. We saw, was it Rogue who was trying to go a little bit more Ling heavy against him, and he made like I want to say like 7 Oracles that game. Do you remember that one on Blackburn? But yeah, I think that after that game, like I don't believe that game was telling about the strategy or the series necessarily. Like DRG obviously is better prepared here, and even if herO counters that strategy a little bit better, that doesn't mean DRG is just going to lose. Like DRG had big econ, he had good creep spread, he had a good amount of bases. Like,
I think so.
This was not some sort of all-in, right? This wasn't a Ragnarok play.
Well, it did seem like, having a little bit less tech stuff, a little bit less roaches. I mean, having some Banes, but basically enough to just get rid of the Zealots. That does appear to be a better play, right? To just power up so many Lings.
I liked it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you could see its real power where the engagement would start, the Stalkers would blink away, but he had enough to still get up and surround them.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's important to have those amounts of units where like you can actually punish herO for being too far out on the map. Because if you can't punish and he can always get away, then mistakes can't really be made, right?
Yeah.
If your opponent can always retreat, that's an issue. Like they have real control in a game like that.
Okay, so the Oracles are going to come through, try to snipe some workers. Again, we saw, this is kind of crazy. Crazy moves from herO. He actually gets both out, which is wild.
Dude, wow.
Let's point out, though, the herO's Oracles were gone down last game. I don't know if it would have made a huge difference if the Lings came in and he had like 5 or 6 Oracles to kill more Lings.
I think so, yeah.
I
mean that's a huge amount of damage output.
But also, herO had some weird moves here too. This, by the way, could also be jet lag related. I can't talk today. Jet lag related. We got a sick herO, maybe a tired, or a sick DRG, maybe a tired herO. But he had some weird plays back there, like when he tried to recall back enough Stalkers to lose a fight against the Lings. I'm like, well, I don't know what the
didn't seem optimal
play with that is.
But look at this. This seems to be a little bit of a mind game counterplay here, right? He's making it look the same, but he's actually going Glaives, and there's no Roach Warren, right? Like, DRG's playing very similarly. He just started the Roach Warren, but without Banelings or Roaches, guess what these Glaive Adepts are going to do to those 6 Lings? Like, it's going to be rough.
Yeah, is it bad for the Zerg when there's more Adepts than there are Zerglings Artosis?
It can be.
Can be.
But how many queens do you have?
Yeah, that's
because he's only got 7 queens. I just saw him shake his head. He's like, uh-oh, 7 queens is not going to do it against this.
A good splitting of damage there. Only 1 Adept's been killed so far. Now he's in the thick of it here in the main. This is a lot of queens ready to try to preempt this fight.
Dude, hero's wrecking him.
Yeah, he's going to lose every single queen at this rate.
This was a very good counterplay. Like, DRG was basically doing the same thing that we saw in the previous game.
Yeah.
And herO is punishing him for it super, super, super hard. So, very smart change here.
Yeah, good intuitive play here. To just kind of come in and do this punish. Now, the attack upgrade's going to finish. I don't think that's going to have the largest impact in the world here in this game. He'll go ahead and kill off that Evo chamber.
Cancels that shade as well, just killing anything that goes by at this point. Plenty of gates on the way, blink and +1 attack. A lot of Lings being made by DRG, but I mean, this situation is It's feeling pretty hopeless at this point.
Yeah.
Down goes the Roach Warren. All right, so DRG does come up to defend finally here.
Yeah, it's gonna be what, one adept to shade away and then get surrounded. Now 6 more gates are coming. We've got adepts, we've got stalkers as well, and a really flattened tech here for DRG. He's gonna have to remake the Roach Warren. Obviously, that remakes very quickly, but you know, development has really been kind of beaten down here. Same style as before, by the way. Later on, with gateways kind of out in the front, being used as big wall-ins. I think trying to, you know, negate the power of those link counterattacks.
Yeah, like the wall-ins are going to be very helpful because you just down the amount of places that they can actually hit into. A ton of gateways have been made at this point. The 4 bases are up. herO's up at 70 workers. Looking healthy, looking really good for him. And still has some adepts in here too, which actually will be very useful.
Okay, he's coming down now. He's going to come in here for the second big engage. Charge is going to finish in a little bit here. It's not done yet. He will snipe the spine. You know, is this enough links to really do that much? I don't feel like it. Again, these oracles are really handy, whether it's with attacking or just kind of laying these stasis wards here to punish. I think this is over, man. We're going to be going into game 3 here. This is tied up 1-1.
All right. So that was a pretty big punish on DRG's idea from before. DRG's gonna have to look out for that, but that's hard to even scout, right? Like, he focused very heavily as soon as his Oracle came out, he killed off the Overlord. There's not a lot of scouting that DRG can do after that, so to check whether it's Glaives or not, it's almost as if herO showed him, oh, you were kind of blind countering my build previously. You still need to play safe. You still need that Roach Warren a bit early in case of adepts.
Okay, so DRG, you know, really being reminded that he's got to be very vigilant about what herO's going to do. herO is totally comfortable mixing it up at the drop of a hat. And that's exactly what happened there on Hardwire. I don't think that was a premeditated build, you know, before the best of 3 started. I think he realized, oh, okay, you're trying to hard counter me. I'll just hard counter your hard counter. Yeah,
he just threw a little change into his actual strategy, and it did wonders for him.
All right, guys, game 3. Let's go.
Team NV, DRG. Dragon Phoenix Gaming, herO.
All right. I'm excited. This little bit of back and forth, a little bit of mind games, a little bit of countering going on.
Yeah, I guess the question is for herO, what's next? It did seem like DRG pretty aptly shut down what herO wanted to do in game 1, but maybe there were some things that herO could have done better. It did seem like herO wasn't bringing his very, very best in game 1.
It seemed like he wasn't reacting too heavily to what he was seeing, and he got himself, it feels like he got his head on his shoulders for game 2 very, very well. You know, when you have the oracles out, you kind of have more active scouting than Zerg, and you can kind of bend around and fix what you're doing to counter them a bit better. And I think as long as he's really kind of playing with some attention to detail there when the oracle's around, he can, you know, figure out how to make sure that DRG does not catch him off guard like game 1.
So that's Cybernetics Core. We got to wait for that to finish. And I assume, again, probably another Stargate play. The pylon up in the main here for herO. It looks like a spot that's, you know, a comfortable location for a Stargate to go. But yeah, I think that tech transition there from herO was pretty smart in game 2. Kind of blindsiding him with those adepts. And then actually, you know, and it wasn't just an adept all in. He did the adept timing attack. And then we go back, and he's already got Stalkers with Blink, and he goes into the same style as before, and this time with just like a crushing performance. It's also possible, now that we're in Game 3, there's a third fork in the build.
Oh, it could be.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, once you start doing, well, first off, it's like overall he has this general strategy, right?
Right.
And I'm sure that he has a few different ways that he can wiggle it around to make it work better against different things, and it just makes sense to have multiple ways to get into it. You know, it's like, okay, well, this way I can open just oracles. This way, you know, maybe I well, we saw he went into glaives that time, right? But not sure exactly how many different ones he'll have.
Keep in mind, there's actually one more PVZ for herO today as well. He's going up against Sue for match 9 in the group. So,
yeah.
Although I do feel like DRG is a bigger threat to herO than Sue is.
Yeah, I would
and
agree.
I would say herO is probably, if you had to power rank them, I'd put him ahead of both of them.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, nice pick off there on the tumor. By the way, this Stargate, imagine what the Stargate looks like in your head. Is it touching the ground?
No,
Is there like a little
in my
peg?
head it's not, no.
You don't
It
think there's like a
floats.
little peg that, okay, so it just floats?
You think it floats?
So why doesn't like anti-air attacks hit it?
Well, it's like StarCraft 1 Vulture, that like also hovers, right?
Okay.
Now the question that I have is why can't I just push it a little bit like it's a balloon?
Well, if it's actually floating, why can't I burrow movement roaches under it?
That's a good point.
Yeah. It's not anchored.
That'd be a really good place to hide roaches inside the main.
Imagine that being part of a wall, just go right under.
I think that's, I guess a pylon floats too, doesn't it?
I think it does,
It's
actually.
not like got a pole underneath it. It's
Yeah, I think it does. I think you're right. And anything that floats should be movable.
feels like it, right?
Yeah, of course. Otherwise, it's not floating. What the hell are we talking about here?
Yeah. Okay.
Look, I'm just telling you how this is destroying me when I'm watching it. You know, like
it's ruining my immersion experience.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I want to believe I'm watching space battles, but I'm like, wait, you can't burrow movement under that building? That doesn't make any sense.
I can't even watch this anymore. Zealot Legs started here. This is not the same build at all. Charge, Robo.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going in a very different direction this time around. And, you know, I get it, especially from herO. He's saying, well, you know, my bread and butter PVZ isn't working so far, but I've got quite a range of builds. He's actually getting a lot of drones, by the way, more than I was expecting.
Yeah, his oracles are doing all right, for sure. That +1 melee is on the way here still. Baneling Nest has been started. Okay, so the Baneling Nest this game is timed out a little bit quicker. So I think that this might be his nod towards the Adepts catching him, right?
Yeah.
Because you can defend him a lot better with Ling Bane than just Ling. Just Ling, you don't really defend them.
If you catch them with Ling Bane, you win the fight outright.
Yeah, basically, if you keep your queens closer to the third, like wherever their entry point is, and then have the Banes near the ramp into the main, like generally that's where the shade runs out, right? And then they can't finish their shade if the Banes are there. So it's, yeah, it feels like he's a bit more prepared, and with the amount of gates being added with this charge build, like the Banes are going to be very useful, but there are going to be Archons in this as well.
Yeah, and of course the Archons can tank that so easily. Very different approach here. Very, very different approach. Now, the Warp Prism's coming up. It's headed in the northeast here towards the main. He could drop the Archons out and then warp in, but I guess there's actually just too many queens here. He's got to be kind of careful
Yeah,
not to get that picked off over here. Does he want to do a warp in here? Yes, he does.
Yeah, he'll force a cancel pretty darn easily. And he's gotten a queen, he's gotten an overlord. This is, I mean, this is really reasonable. He's taking a 4th base behind this. Honestly, I think that this is just going to go into his regular strategy anyways.
I think you're right, man. I think he's basically just, it's different openings, but they all want to end up.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, the late game tech is like Mass Stalker. You know what I mean? And this control, by the way, he's getting so much value.
Yeah.
And he goes right back up into the main. What's up here to defend? I don't see any queens at all.
And you know what's really cool about this as well? If you think about game 1 and what went wrong, just adding Archons into the Blink Stalker build is so powerful against Ling Bane. They're just, it's such a powerful unit against that type of composition. Now look at the damage he's putting out. Oh my god, and he even keeps the very hurt Archon inside of the prism.
Yeah, he's just getting so much value.
It's crazy.
It's hard to imagine DRG lasting much longer in this game. You know, especially when we know what kind of style is coming here.
Now, one thing to say about DRG, he has a very healthy drone count. He's lost a lot of stuff, but 65 drones are going to help you to replenish.
That's very true, Artosis. It's not like he's actually taken major economic beatings. I guess losing the hatchery is something, but you're right. Losing drones is always going to be immediately more impactful.
Now, I think that the Blink Stalkers in general do want to fight against Roaches, and just the Archon Zealot opener has kind of forced Roach production here out of DRG. It really feels like herO is forcing a lot of difficult decisions and difficult compositions upon DRG here.
Right. Another big warp in over here. I mean, herO's looking pretty scary, man. It seems like he's definitely gotten to where he wanted to be. He has 5 bases. Well, the 5th one's going to finish soon, but you get what I'm saying.
No, it's pretty crazy.
He's basically doing this super cool abusive style. I think we're going to continue to see more Stalkers get made. He's being very ready for the counterattack, although it doesn't seem like DRG has any actual plans to do that, at least yet. Maybe now, it seems he's moving stuff down now, but you get what I'm saying. It might be too little too late here, as herO may just be like too out of hand with how much he has.
Yeah, and the amount of, even just like watching him clear a creep here, he's in so much control this game, it's kind of crazy.
He's at 87 workers.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he doesn't even, he can remake his army so quickly with this. He can blink away, get value, eventually get surrounded, remake all the Stalkers, blink away, get value. You know, it's just, there's so much that he has here. I would be surprised if Zerg can survive this. We're going to see in a second.
Yeah, maybe he can hold on if he micros well in this choke and everything. Like, he's got a good amount of queens and roaches, but herO is gaining value, like you said, over and over and over. And on 5 bases with this many workers, it's hard to imagine him ever running out of pressure.
Yeah, some Banes come in here, and they do kill off those probes. Not bad. A little victory there for DRG.
That's really nice, but, you know, still a healthy probe count for herO. He's got 73 workers after losing 15. Like,
yeah. And the thing is, he's now hitting 2 locations at once, and I feel like, you know, these Zealots are going to be cleaned up by the Banes, but doesn't really matter. I mean, down here, there's so much to fight.
Well, he's going to get rid of the last Archon here. But he doesn't really have much of anything else.
The Zealots are going to be too helpful here.
Yeah.
And he's going to be able to get the space. There is a base to the southeast of this screenshot. So I don't see Zerg surviving here, man. I mean, this looks too tough.
Yeah, it looks like he is just going to march to victory here. DRG playing with drones at this point, getting in front of those Zealots. Never a good way to defend. Little flank to the side here as the bios come down, and herO gonna end up winning another match here.
Yeah, this is really nicely done. herO gonna crush through. This is gonna be GG. herO takes this best of 3, 2-1, but DRG, you know, COVID and all, still looking pretty strong.
Yeah, he didn't look bad, and I think he came in with a cool idea, but herO was like 2 steps ahead of him after, you know, maybe he was 1 step behind in game 1, and then he was like 3 steps ahead in the next 2 games.
Yeah.
No, 4 steps
4
ahead.
steps.
Yeah.
No, 5 steps.
No, that's too many. 4 steps.
I was out of hand there.
Tasteless. You're
Oh my
hyperbole.
We're going to have an interview with herO now. I think we're doing an interview with each player after they win. We'll be doing it for the people at home as well through Discord if we have to. But I think it's going to be time to talk to herO and see how he is feeling. He just defeated DRG 2-1.
herO triumphs over DRG, and he's currently in 2nd place in the group. So this is the week 2 of the round of 10. You're off to a good start, herO. So how do you feel today? Well, today the first match, you know, everything went as planned. I mean, DreamHack Valencia, you moved on to the round of 4. So how do you feel about that? Well, first of all, you know, I feel like I solved my homework that I wasn't able to solve before. And, you know, I think my search for overseas tournament was kind of relieved. On the other hand, herO, it feels like you adapted very well to this PVZ matchup. And it's kind of sad that your consecutive wins in this matchup was cut off. Yeah, so I'm a little disappointed in that aspect, but I feel like I gained a lot of experience with that. So I think I gained something valuable with my loss that I was able to defeat DRG today. So today you have a remaining match against Zoun. No, against Su actually. So against Su you have a match. So anything you want to say before we get into that match? Well, my first match, I feel like my PVZ match went well. I think I can show a good performance in the later game as well. So hopefully you guys can cheer for me. That's right, so soon we will have a match between herO and Su. Right, so that was an interview with herO. Thank you, herO. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you, Andy. We're going to go to a quick break. Coming up next, another PVZ, Zoun versus Su. We'll be right back. Don't go away.